shit.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wait.
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome to Higher Ed Pulse, your no-fluff guide to artificial intelligence in higher ed. I'm Mallory Willsea, bringing nearly 20 years of edtech and marketing expertise straight to your earbuds. Higher ed leaders are expected to master AI overnight, but let's be real, no one has time to sift through every headline, hot take, or research report. That's why every Monday, I'll break down what actually matters. Fast, clear, and to the point. Want to sound like the smartest person in the room at your next team meeting? You're in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Higher Ed Pulse. I am here live at the Engage Summit in the Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. And sitting across from me is Stella Liu. She is the lead data scientist at Arizona State University. She's been there now for a couple years. Stella is one of the presenters here at the Engage Summit. Stella, welcome to the Pulse. Now tell me, I know this is your first time at Engage. What's been one of your favorite presentations, or maybe something you've learned from one of those amazing keynotes we heard over these last couple days?
Yeah, this is indeed my first time at Engage. I am very impressed. I really liked the keynote speak from Cosmos yesterday. I actually knew Cosmos from my earlier career. Yeah, it was a great presentation. And, you know, as someone who has been working in tech deep down, I rarely spent time looking back and thinking about history of the development of AI. So I really liked that part of the presentation from Cosmos.
Cool. I honestly only caught the tail end of his session, but those handful of slides I saw, I was like snapping photos. Honestly, I was like, I know I'm going to get access to this, but I want it now. And I just started taking all these photos. He had such great data to kind of back up why it is so important higher ed kind of catches up to this AI revolution. So, Stella, before we hit record, you told me that you used to work at Carvana and Shopify, which I think is so cool because I'm customers of both. Facts. So tell me about a cool project or something. I just love when I can talk to folks who've been outside of the industry, and those are really great companies. So what is something awesome that you worked on in your previous life?
Yeah, I think everyone has a different definition of a cool project.
That is fair.
I'll talk about a project that I was very excited. I am still very excited about, and also a project that I am very proud about. So you said you were a customer of Carvana.
Mm-hmm. A new customer, indeed.
Customer.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Wow. Did you have the car delivered to you, or did you pick it up at a vending machine?
I picked it up.
Oh,
yes.
Nice. And you had to go through a scheduling process, right?
We did, although I'll admit my husband did all of that because I've been on the road myself a lot, but he did have to go through a whole scheduling process.
Yeah.
He said it was easy.
It was easy. And also, I think part of the reason why, Carvana has a lot of amazing things, but I think one of the reasons why customers really like Carvana was because you can get an estimated delivery time window before you place an order. And that was one project I worked on.
Oh my gosh, you're like, and that was me. A little hair toss just happened, y'all. That's too cool. Wait, so keep talking.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with the idea?
Well, I think it is a known fact in e-commerce. I would say in commerce, especially in e-commerce, that if the lead time, meaning the time between placing an order and the time of receiving the order is short, then it significantly increases the conversion rate. And we knew it, and we wanted to build that at Carvana back then. So we were thinking, okay, so how do we shorten the delivery time, and also how do we let the customers know that they can expect in a car, whether it's picked up or delivered to them in a short period of time. So we designed the algorithm, we implemented, we deployed, and that is what Carvana customers see on the website.
Oh my gosh, that is incredible. I cannot wait to go back and tell my husband all of this. That's really neat. And What I love about that is you started with this insight, this challenge, this problem, and then you found the way that technology can help as part of the solution and help to innovate that. And in fact, your colleague at ASU, Amanda, who gave the keynote this morning, was making some very similar points around how at ASU there were certain pain points or problems that students were having in their college search process, in their decision process to go to Arizona State. And Amanda said, we didn't go into this problem-solving exercise assuming AI was the solution. I'm not here to tell you AI was the solution, but I am here to tell you that we found a solution and it happened to be AI. And I was so taken by her juxtaposition of these were the things students used to say about this, and it was all negative comments and a very high percentage. And then after the implementation of that app, all of a sudden 90% positive ratings, positive comments, and even one of those quotes was like, I could do this while I watched my Bluey episode. I was like, that is incredible. So Stella, I'm going to use this opportunity to transition us because while I could sit here and talk to you about Carvana all day, I know you did a session earlier at the Engage Summit around ethical AI. And when I was helping to plan the programming for this event last year, it was really important to me that there was someone at the event talking about AI and ethics. And so I am so glad that that continued to be on this program because I don't think it gets brought up nearly enough. So for all of our listeners who were not, unfortunately able to join us here in Charlotte, can you give them a sneak peek into what your session was all about?
Yeah, sure. I think we are already past the hyper fear phase of AI, and now we're all in a phase of building AI. And when we are building AI, we often ask ourselves an important question, just as what you described. Is AI the right solution, or is this specific AI product the right solution to my problem? And we need a way to evaluate that. So when we talk about AI product evaluation, the first thing that comes to mind to many people is accuracy. It's like when we do a AI product, or in most cases like an AI chatbot, is it able to answer all my questions correctly and accurately? So accuracy, of course, is an important aspect of AI product evaluation, but there are also so many other important aspects of AI evaluation.
Can we dig into those?
Yeah, sure. So for example, bias and fairness, and also safety. And us in the world of higher education, I think the risks for us can be very high. There are some really high stake risks that we need to take care of because we work with students, and we can have a profound impacts on students and society as a whole. So those are, to me, very important aspects besides accuracy that we should evaluate. So in my presentation, I talked about a 3-level system that we are currently developing at Arizona State University. The first layer being a testing suite called Ethical AI Engine, which is a fully automated testing tool. And the second layer we're developing is called GUARD. It is a real-time monitoring and alerting agent. And the third layer is called SAFER, and SAFER is a monitoring and analytics framework that helps us to review and audit all the user AI interaction from AI products.
So let's talk about that framework piece for a second, because I think different teams have different resources, from human resources to dollars to spend on technology, et cetera. And so it might be a really big deal for a small team to be able to afford an AI tool.
Yes.
And we know not all AI tools are the same, but it's hard to really evaluate them when, these companies have great marketing teams, right? So they all sound good at surface level. So if I'm listening to this podcast right now and I'm in the process of evaluating myriad of AI tools, is there a framework that I can use so that I feel good about my decision on the ethics side of things.
Yeah. The 3-layer system I just talked about is a automated framework. And I am aware of the fact that we are very privileged that we have a team of developers dedicated to building this framework and this platform at Arizona State University. But I would say, like, even without a dev team, there's still so many we can do in evaluating AI products to secure like responsible and ethical use of AI. In fact, at ASU, on my team, before we developed any of these frameworks or tools, we were able to do evaluation manually with human evaluators. So we worked closely with our stakeholders. We communicate with them. We fully understand what to evaluate in those AI products. We spent time with stakeholders to fully understand the specific use cases, and we designed metrics. And then we work with subject matter experts to come up with test data set, which essentially is a list of questions that is representative of what users would ask in real world. And we pass those questions to the AI tool or chatbot. We collect the responses and we work with stakeholders to review and score each one of those. And on top of that, we generate a report for that AI product. So that is one way of doing it manually. It can be time consuming, but it's also very effective. The other way of doing it is A/B testing. So you probably are familiar with the term if you're in tech. It is dividing the users into two groups, or a selected group of users into two subgroups. So one group with access to the AI tool and the other group without access to that tool. And again, similarly, we designed the metrics. We let the two subgroups of users run for, say, a few weeks or a couple months. And towards the end of it, we collect data and analyze to show whether the AI product does meet our expectation or not. So that's also another way of doing it manually.
Oh, that's fantastic. Wow. Thank you. Stella, I'm just like struck in this 10-minute conversation we've had, how lucky higher ed is to have you.
Oh, thank you.
And how lucky the Engage Summit was to have you as a presenter. So thank you for being here. Before we wrap this up, any parting thoughts, and where can listeners find you if they want to connect with you?
LinkedIn, always the best place. As for parting thoughts, I often recall the quote from ASU's president, Dr. Michael Kroll, in recent days. He said about AI in higher education, evolve or die. I also quoted in my presentation today, and I would propose a small modification to that. I would say evolve responsibly or die.
And that's the mic drop. Thanks, Stella.
Thank
Listeners, we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the Higher Ed Pulse. The show is a proud member of the Enrollify Network, home to Higher Ed's largest collection of podcasts. Enrollify is where higher ed goes to grow. So be sure to check out our other podcasts, webinars, video clips, blogs, and more. Visit enrollify.org and subscribe for all the latest details and content drops directly to your inbox. Enrollify is brought to you by Element 451, the digital workforce platform for higher ed. Learn more at element451.com.